Good morning, students. Let us begin our day with a beautiful thought. Small steps in the right direction can turn out to be the biggest step of your life. With this beautiful thought, let us start with the remaining part of the explanation of the lesson. Yesterday we saw how Taffy she was engrossed in drawing by lying down on her tummy and trying to explain the Tivara, that is the stranger man. The stranger man he interpreted something different when Taffy was drawing. The stranger man, and he was a Tivara, smiled. He thought there must be a big battle going to be fought somewhere, and this extraordinary child who takes my magic shark's tooth but who does not swell up or burst is telling me to call all the great chiefs' tribe to help him. He is a great chief, or he would have noticed me. Children, just see when we do not understand languages, when one person is trying to interpret the other, there can be a big miscommunication. This is what happened. She was trying to explain him her the address of her cave, her house, where he misunderstood it with the battle. Look, said Taffy, drawing very hard and rather scratchy. Now I have drawn you, and I have put the spear that Daddy wants into your hand, just to remind you that you are to bring it. Now I'll show you how to find my mummy's living address. You go alone till you come to two trees. Those are trees. And then you go over a hill. That's a hill. And then you come into all the beavers. Because I can't draw beavers, but I have drawn their heads. And that's all you will see of them when you cross the swamp. Mind, you don't fall in. Then our cave is just beyond the beaver swamp. It isn't as high as the hills really, but I can't draw beautiful. But I can't draw things very small. That's my mummy outside. She's beautiful. She's the most beautifulest mummy there ever was. But she won't be offended when she sees I can draw. Now, in case you forget, I have drawn the spear that Daddy wants outside our cave. It's inside really, but you show the picture to my mummy and she will give it to you. I have made her holding up her hands because I know she'll be so pleased to see you. Isn't it a beautiful picture? And do you quite understand, or shall I explain again? It is explain. Children, just see how wonderfully this small girl she is trying to explain her drawing to the Tivara, but he is not at all in the position to understand what she is talking because she doesn't understand his language and he doesn't understand what she is explaining, what she is talking about. So, we are going to see how did the stranger interpret Taffy's drawing and what mistaken notions made the stranger raise off like the wind. The stranger thought that there was a big battle on the way and Tegomai's enemies were coming to attack from all sides with spears. He even thought Taffy wanted him to call their tribe for, for help. Otherwise, both Taffy and the great child would be killed by their enemies. Just imagine the girl is trying to explain the address of her cave, and here he misinterprets with the battle. This is what happens when we don't know languages. So it's better to understand the language to understand what the person tries to say. Next one is the stranger man, and he was a Tivara, looked at the picture and nodded very hard. He was trying to just understand what the small girl Taffy is explaining him. He said to himself, if I do not fetch this great chief's tribe to help him, he will be slain, that is, killed mercilessly by his enemies who are coming up on all sides with spears. Now I see why the great chief pretended not to notice me. He feared that his enemies were hiding in the bushes and would see him. Therefore, he turned to me his back and let the wise and wonderful child draw the terrible picture showing me his difficulties. I will away and get help for him from his tribe. He did not even ask Taffy the road, but raced off into the bushes like the wind with the birch bark in his hand, and Taffy sat down most pleased. Now, this is the picture that Taffy had drawn for him. Children, when we look at the picture, we'll see that the girl, with the help of her own imagination, she drew it, but it was misinterpreted by the Tivara, that is the stranger man. Just imagine what condition there must be. She was pleased that she is going to get a spear, and the stranger man, he had his own misconceptions, he had his own thoughts, whatever he interpreted, and he ran away with that birch bark just to call other tribal people for help.